was out there in the night sky, stared up at the stars in the hopes of seeing something out of the ordinary? Have you heard unexplainable noises coming from a vacant room, or watched a shadow cross the wall in front of you? Have you asked yourself if there is life after this one, or if you had life before? What about strange creatures that are mythical and elusive? Have you experienced deja vu or felt a prompting to leave because you felt you were in danger? If you have, you were on the fringe.
Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of On the Fringe. I'm Mark. Pam will be with us shortly, and Jess is under the weather today. So while we're waiting on Pam, I'll go ahead and take care of a little housekeeping. So enjoy this ad.
Hey, this is Mark with What If Tomorrow and What If Tomorrow on the Fringe. Be sure to check out our website, whatiftomorrowmedia.com, and look at our cool merch. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, posters, and more. Our affiliates are Duke Cannon, EMP Shield, My Patriot Supply, and Conflicted the Game. Or check out buymeacoffee.com/whatiftomorrow and buy us a coffee. And as always, be sure to like, comment, and share on both Facebook and YouTube. It helps get our content out to others and help our channel grow. Now on with the show.
All right. I hope everybody is having a good evening tonight. Tonight we're going to be talking about the mysterious Wallace line. And really, this really isn't fringy yet. We're kind of setting it up for later. We're going to talk about lost continents and stuff in the future. So we're going to talk about the Wallace line and what scientists believe right now about the Wallace line and why it exists. Like I said, Pam will be on here shortly. Enzo says he is not familiar with the Wallace line. Well, I will go ahead and present this, and I'll probably be bringing it up later. Dun, dun, dun. I've got too many things. There we go. Here is the Wallace line. It is a imaginary, real line. I know that doesn't make sense. That goes in between the islands here in the Pacific. On one side, you've got all your Asian animals, and magically on the other side, it's all the Australian animals. So we're going to talk about that and how that came to pass. It was discovered in, I believe, 1885 by a guy by the name of Wallace. He was one of the co-discoverers of the origin of species. More Darwin beat him out on this, but he discovered this line. If you are in the area between Borneo and Luzon, on one side, it's tigers and elephants and Asian birds and stuff like that. And then you just go a little bit east. It's just a few miles east. Some of these islands are super close. And you get kangaroos and wallabies, possums and stuff like that. You know, your marsupials. And it's really odd. Excuse me. So Let me pull up another map for you. This one is one that Pam sent me. And here you can see it a little bit better. Here is Pam. Welcome, Pam. We're
Yay.
back. I'm showing them your map.
Oh, cool. Where's
So,
Jeff?
Jess was not feeling well. She
Oh,
hurt her
no.
neck a little more than she thought.
Oh, no.
She's feeling a little beat up.
Darn it.
For those of you who aren't in the know, we were on a car trip yesterday, and we hit a little bumpy bump, and it was pretty good, but Jess was sitting behind the back wheels, and everybody knows how that goes. She kind of bounced off the roof of the Explorer.
She did expedition.
Expedition.
Yeah, and that third row seat sets up higher, so yeah,
so
it's not good.
and that was probably my fault. I probably should have warned the driver that bump was there, but my little car doesn't do anything. It just goes right through it. So
Well, I apologize for being late. I was stuck in a meeting at work, and it went a little over.
well, I get it. So
And I am trying to pull my stuff up here.
I have explained what the Wallace line is and where
cool.
it's at approximately.
Mhm.
Now, the reason this is important is because this is one of the areas that actual scientists have agreed used to be above water.
Yes.
So I'm going to pull up. I've got two really good pictures. And let's see. Guess I probably should have just left that up. Here is the picture Pam came up with. And see, about 13,000 years ago, before the sea level went up 400 feet, this is what Australia and Asia looked like. Notice how far down the land goes. It looks like you can almost walk from some of these
Yes.
places.
Much further than it goes now, for sure.
A couple very short boat rides, and you're from the East Indies into Australia. So, but the water is pretty deep in between these because of plate tectonics.
Yep.
Which the scientists, and I probably tend to agree, it's deep water and there is a lot of current through there. So it makes it difficult for any animals to travel in between these areas. And even with the sea level rising, that is still an issue. So,
yes.
It's
so much so it probably will continue to be an issue.
Yeah,
well beyond our time, for sure.
Some birds can fly across it, and some birds just aren't capable of flying that far. So there is some similarities between them, but mostly not. Like I said, on one side you've got elephants and tigers, and the other side you've got kangaroos and wallabies.
Yes.
Which, I mean, like I said, this really isn't a fringe theory. This is pretty much
no. This is yes, absolute science at this point. And it was originally described by a naturalist. His name was Alfred Russel Wallace in 1859, and it has been updated a couple of times.
I got the date wrong. I thought it was 85. I don't.
Oh, whoops. But it's taken until now for the scientists to work out, what is actually going on with the animal species on either side. So that's the really cool part.
This is what they've named the two continents.
Yes.
Before parts of them sunk, and you can see the islands.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then there's several different lines through here. There are mini divides, and they tend to be high current areas. So,
yes,
you don't get a lot of crossing.
And the Wallace line is the biggest one that really divides the type of animal, and flora and fauna, I guess, both of them.
Yeah.
And even now, we have airplanes today. And so realistically, you could bring one to the other. But now, ecologically, it's against the law to do so.
Right.
Um,
Well,
they
and
would
a
have
lot
been
of those
like,
animals would be wiped out if you did that.
yes, absolutely.
So, uh, and I was explaining before you got down here, even though this isn't fringe territory,
Hmm.
it's leading us down the path towards the fringy.
It is.
Um, because in the future, I want to talk about the supposed content of Lemuria, which
Yes.
was invented about this same time as an explanation to why there are so many different kind of lemurs on Madagascar. So, and let me pull up a picture here. It's not a very good picture. Um, this is what the world would have looked like about 13,000 years ago. So, notice that Madagascar is somewhat larger. The imagination of the time was that, oh, it didn't come up on the screen. I'm sitting here pointing at stuff that don't exist. Uh, pardon me, folks. I'm a little weird. So, like I said, it's not a very good picture, but see how much bigger Madagascar is than it is currently. Japan is connected to uh, mainland China and Siberia, and here is your two subcontinents. The imagination was out here in the Indian Ocean that there was a continent that touched um, over here at Madagascar, and that's where all the lemurs came from. Now, that's still a really interesting um, thought, but notice how much bigger India is.
Yeah.
India is a lot bigger. Um, so it's not, I can see where they found the evidence to think that this Lemurian continent existed. They've also decided that there was another continent called Mauritius. And this is, I don't have a photo of it, but we're going to be talking about these. We're going to talk about lost civilizations in the future. So this episode becomes really important when we start showing you that everybody agrees that this was all above water.
A place that I used to work, they were big into making everything, because we worked in a basically a cubicle filled with no windows. And so they tried to make things as fun as you can possibly make when you're handling claims. And so they named the rooms different things. And the one that really sticks in my mind is Mauritius. And it was named after Mauritia. Um, and it was supposed to be this, I can't remember how they described it to us. It was supposed to be like a getaway paradise where you could forget your worries. Yeah, it was a conference room with chairs and tables. But the idea was nice.
Yeah, the idea is nice. So if you look on this picture, see how low the ice caps were?
Yeah, it's like
This
clear down.
this wasn't that long. Look at the Florida coast here. The Gulf of Mexico
Massively
is
different.
almost closed off.
It is, isn't it?
So the world looked a lot different 400 feet of water ago.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Enzo. Hi, Chris.
So,
Yeah, Enzo said he didn't know this was a thing. It's a really a fascinating little piece of science. I can't remember how we ran across. I ran across something, and Mark knew about it already, and so we kind of went with it.
yeah, it's
Pretty fascinating
really
stuff.
weird. And like I said, I'd like to come up with some kind of paranormal explanation, but there's not. I mean, it's pretty cut and dried. It's plate tectonics
Yes.
matched with the sea level coming up 400 feet about 12, 15,000 years ago. So this is very recent in geological history. Humans were running around.
Yeah.
So if there were a lost civilization, it would be mostly coastal and therefore mostly underwater now.
And there's evidence of a lot of places that are underwater that obviously they weren't at one
Well, in
time
the Black
because
Sea, there's whole
yes.
islands that were kingdoms
Mhm.
that are below the surface now. So some of them are not even that far.
Yeah.
You can
Some of
scuba
them
dive.
yeah, you can absolutely scuba down to them.
So
What's really interesting about this, like you said, they have determined it is based on the plate tectonics and things, the way that the Earth has moved, and it's so deep and so volatile in that
oh,
area
there's
along the
volcanoes
Wallace.
everywhere.
Yes, it's just fascinating to me how that works. And, I'm fascinated with the ocean anyway, just because of the fact that we know more about the moon than we know about the ocean. We know more about things outside of our planet than we know of things in the ocean. And when you look at a globe, kind of like the map that Mark just had up, it looks, pretty like there's a good land to ocean ratio, and that's really kind of deceiving because if you were to look at the Earth, from space, you see the one side that has all the land mass, but if you look at the back of it, it's almost complete ocean.
Yeah,
It's
the
a big
Pacific is
difference.
just like empty.
Yes.
Yeah, there's one side of the planet that doesn't have hardly anything.
And we don't ever really pay attention to that portion because of the fact it's not as interesting to look
Yeah,
at.
the
It's
Pacific
not
is
as pretty.
huge.
Yeah, it's ginormous.
There is a place in the Pacific where if you're parked there, you're farther away from a landmass than the International Space Station.
Yes, absolutely. You're right.
So, I mean, the world is big.
Mhm.
So,
The world is big and the ocean is even bigger because we have no clue. Humans can only go down so far, and equipment that humans have built can only go down so far. And there's
yeah,
still tons of stuff beyond that we
yeah,
have
and
no idea about.
when we do, we only explore the shallowest parts. We'll occasionally go deep, um, because we've got some sonar reading or whatever. Ooh, that
Yes.
looks interesting. Let's see what it is.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
And I know when Enzo's been on here before, we've talked about the bloop, the sound that was heard down in the trench. Is it the Marianas Trench?
Marianas Trench. Yeah.
Marianas Trench. There was a bloop sound down there that they didn't know what it was, and I have heard recently that they believe that was should be attributed to underwater volcanoes. But yeah, I'm still a little skeptical on that. You
Well,
know,
I know. I am.
because I have this huge degree in oceanography and know everything about it. But I just, I don't know. I just think the bloop's cool. It's
I
hard
have
to
I have a degree
for
in
me.
weird.
Exactly. We have a
Yes.
PhD in weirdness.
Yes. So anyway, this is really a fascinating subject. Let me
I agree.
look at this line here. Now these hang it disappeared again. I've been changing screens and it's been going with me and then it just stopped. So if you look here,
I
these
really like
islands
this
right
map. This was cool.
these
The
islands
visual.
here look like you would think that the animals would be the same all the way across this island chain. That island chain is volcanic and has never been connected
Mhm.
to either of those continents. Yeah,
Oh, I like what Enzo just said. That remote part of the Pacific is called Point Nemo. It's where most countries deorbit their satellites because they won't hit anything. That's interesting.
and I appreciate that fact. The last thing I need is for some Russian spy satellite to bonk me on the head or be
Right?
sitting in my living room. You know, um,
Just one more thing to
I
freak
really
out
don't need to live the Andromeda strain.
about.
And if you guys haven't watched that movie or read that book, it's old, but it's still pithy. It's something you ought to go check out. Coincidentally, water killed the virus from another planet. So
That'd be a good book.
yeah, it really was a good book. So um,
I have not read it, but I need to.
yeah, it was written by the same guy who did Jurassic Park, I believe, and Sphere.
So I found this little tidbit that I thought was pretty cool, and it's talking about scientists in the year, up to where we're at now, and what they did on the study of the Wallace line. And they tend to agree that he pretty much got it right,
Yeah,
and
there's been some minor alterations because
but
of
not
better
many.
exploring, but not very many.
Mm-mm. He did, or what they did to find out what species had made the journey across the Wallace line. This team went in and analyzed 20,000 species, including birds and mammals and reptiles and amphibians. And they found out that those species that had evolved in like in the dry, arid Australia area were less able to survive in the wet tropical areas and in the islands to the north. So those species that had the greater precip tolerance, they were more successful to make that jump across to Australia. So that's really a huge reason why some of them you saw that did make it, in Australia and survive, and others didn't. Because I know there's species of bats but really not that many birds that you would think, especially with them being able to not have to cross in the water. It's fascinating, but that makes sense, if they can't survive in that tropical wetness,
Some
basically.
birds can make the journey, and some birds can't.
Exactly.
Some birds die after they do. So
But what they're doing with this, which I think is pretty cool, they're hoping that this research could be used to help inform predictions and decisions about animal migration patterns when animal migration. Well, can't talk. When animal migration patterns occur, um, if they see it shifting, it could be due to climate change, and maybe it'll give us a little bit of a heads up.
and see, that's one thing most people don't realize: the climate changes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You
It
know, when
does.
in the 70s they thought we were starting another ice age.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hate to tell you, the last ice age still isn't over yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the ice age was good for humans because it killed off a lot of the predator species. So
True.
good on that.
Jess is in the chat. She said it's weird watching the show from this side. And sorry, guys, I'll be up and running tomorrow. We miss you, but so yeah, you take care of yourself.
I got some of that
Fix your
high
head.
powered naproxen we can send over for you.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure when my alarms. I'll have an alarm going off here in a little bit because I injured myself as well. Yay!
Oh yeah. Pam tore a tendon just walking up the sidewalk.
Yeah, because I'm clever like that.
I mean, it takes talent, folks. Real talent.
Mm-hmm. It
You know,
does.
I just have to get up in the morning and throw my back out. So I tripped today over a shadow. So
Oh
I
no!
feel you. I feel you.
I did manage to work all day today. Luckily, Jennifer was there and she did all the running for me, so I got to set and direct basically. I just need the, you know.
We'll get you some batons.
Yeah.
Some lighted batons.
Yes, I need them. Enzo said his only injury yesterday was from eating too much. So what we did is we're working on the Paracon, and we have a couple of new members in the Border Town team, and that's Enzo's one, and Scotty Rademacher. He's the other one. And to be more centrally located for this big meeting, we met in Arc City, which is over in Scotty's territory. And it's a lot closer to Enzo, too. So we all got together and ate at this restaurant, and it was fantastic. Super good food. And it was only, an hour's drive away. So that
It was
wasn't too
only an
bad.
hour for us. So it wasn't too bad at all.
No, it was
It
great.
made
We
it
had
about
over,
an hour for everybody.
yeah. And we, we took the expedition, so it had enough room in it to fit everybody, and we had a good time.
Unfortunately, we bounced Jessica off the roof.
Except for, playing pinball with Jess in the third row seat back there. Sorry about that.
Yeah, just think how bad it would have been if she hadn't been wearing her seatbelt.
Oh, goodness.
Jeez.
Yeah, her head, it sets up so high. Her head was only like this far from the ceiling anyway.
Hi, Sylvain.
Oh, hey, Sylvain. So it was just enough to really conquer off to the side a little bit.
Oh, well.
Darn it. But we had a great time. And if you're in the area, be sure to come by and visit us at the Paracon. You get to meet all of us and hang out with us. And if you can't, we're going to live stream through our channels on YouTube and on Facebook. So it'll be a great day. Really looking forward to it.
All right. So I think I've covered most of the basics. What else do you have for us there? You had some other lines?
Put me on the spot here because I did not get as much stuff done on this one as I wanted to.
Oh, well. We can start tying it into our future episodes right now.
Absolutely.
So what the plan is here is this is just kind of a teaser episode. Because we're really interested in the part of history that no one remembers because there's no written record. Written records only go back. We have fragmentary records from about 9,000 years ago. And really that's about it. Before that, it's just legends and myths. So
yeah.
The theory here is that there was a seafaring civilization, or probably several, that 12,000 years ago, when all of a sudden all that ice melted, that I showed you in this really, really bad picture. Here we go.
Ooh, that's a great title, Enzo. Legends, Myths, and Monoliths.
Legends, Myths, and Monoliths. We're going to steal it. We're going to steal it. So if you look at my really bad picture, which I could not find a higher res picture of this, a lot of the ice was tied up north and down south in glaciers. So you had these large chunks of land, and if you look, even the shape of the continents is different because there was a lot more water, or a lot less water covering them up. So, and some of these places, several hundred miles of coastline, for several miles out into the ocean, were above water. And look at the map today. Look at the cities and the population of the map. That's a map I should have brought up. Most people in the United States, at least, and probably most in the world, live within 50 to 100 miles of the ocean. This is not something that has changed probably ever. The ocean is a good place to get food. I mean, the earliest human settlement that they have located, and I forget the name of it, but the earliest human settlement that they have ever found was all based on seafood. That's what they ate.
Mm-hmm.
So it just goes to reason, and along the coast, seafood is a big thing. The oceans are a good place to harvest food.
Absolutely.
It's easy, is relatively safe.
And it's abundant for the most part.
So when you cover up all that coastline in a hurry, one, you're going to have a mass die-off. I can compare that to DARPA several years, probably a couple decades ago now, estimated if someone set off an EMP or a nuke on a coast of the United States, that the ensuing panic of people trying to get away from the coasts would cause a huge die-off in the United States. Well, imagine, what if all your cities are being swallowed in a matter of days or weeks because of the sudden rapid rise of water? People are going to starve to death. Most people probably, they said in case of an EMP right now, 90% of the population would be dead within 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no refrigeration. There was no canned goods. There was no prepping. You had a stone spear, or maybe, because I believe that this civilization may have been in the Bronze Age. So it was a fairly advanced civilization. You got a couple knives and a spear, and you're just trying to beat the water. It's cold. You don't have shelter. A lot of people just didn't make it. So then all you have left are these legends of the oceans swallowing whatever. And there's evidence that water flowed through the Sahara and off into the Atlantic
Absolutely.
Ocean. So that there's an area about the size of Florida under the water here, where all this stuff just got pushed out into the ocean.
The world itself was massively different looking, because even where we live in south central Kansas, southeast Kansas area, it was all one huge shallow ocean.
Well, yeah, long ago. But like I said, when the ice melted, it all flooded. It wasn't deep flooding, but all of this flooded. Some people survived, some people didn't.
Yep.
Some animals became extinct because of it. Many animals became extinct because over here, all that was the animals couldn't get away any more than the people. So only the best species survived. So this is a big, important thing in world history that nobody ever talks about. And finally, because of Mr. Wallace and his line, and a lot of more modern scientists trying to figure out why that came to pass, then we found out this. And a lot of people don't think about, well, if it made a big difference here, but it doesn't look like anything's that much different.
It's hugely different. I wish we had an overlay.
Yeah, I had a map. Maybe I can still find that. That actually showed Great Britain attached to Europe physically.
Oh wow!
So you could walk from Great Britain to France, basically.
Here, I'll dig around, see if I can find one.
Let's see. I don't have that handy, but yeah, at one point, here we go.
Did you find one?
Nope, that's not it. I can't find any really good maps.
Here's an interesting one. Let me see if I can grab it for you real quick.
Okay, just throw that up there for me.
It's gonna turn into a. Here's a picture.
But yeah, this is a big deal, and that's why we wanted to talk about the Wallace line today, is because it leads us in to these lost civilizations. Enzo got it. Doggerland. I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one I just found too, I think.
Yes.
Awesome.
So I knew I'd seen it. So let's see. It's loading.
Did he get it to you?
I've actually got it. I will share it right now.
Awesome.
So this is what Europe looked like. So you can see Ireland and the ice sheet, and
Yep.
this was all above water. So that is a big difference. You can see the
Yeah,
rivers.
it's all connected. I mean, there's no bunch of little islands anywhere.
You said all connected.
I did. You know, and it makes sense because if you look into like ancient Scotland and Ireland, there is so much Nordic ancestry and Nordic things that are found. And this right here, I mean, it they easily could have walked it. You know, they easily could have
Well,
did
their
it.
precursor could
Norwegian
have definitely
French
the
that
horse
they
people
gone
probably.
across. Yeah, absolutely.
The horse people civilization probably went back that far. I'm not sure. But definitely, the Vikings, they rode their ships everywhere. But
Yeah.
at this point, they didn't have to.
No, they
So,
didn't. It was very close.
and it's kind of, when you look at it, it's like, how does nobody talk about this? We know that land masses can disappear under the water. It happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. This is not the first time it's happened. It won't be the last. I mean, we'll have another ice age and we'll have a whole bunch of new land and we'll fill it up and then the ice will all melt and everybody will drown
Yeah,
and we'll forget about it again.
yeah, and it will be wiped from history again, once again.
Uh,
All that'll be left is a few big monoliths and things that,
right,
because everything
because
else is going to be
most civilizations mostly exist on the coast near water. You got to have water for food, for sustenance, fresh water for sustenance, but uh, it's a big deal that scientists have agreed that yeah, that happened.
gone. Hmm.
So I don't get why everybody wants to jump on the there was no Atlantis. Well, it may not have been called that. No,
There was
um,
definitely some other
there was something.
civilizations that we don't know about, and there was
Oh yeah,
probably more civilizations before those that we even
and
have an
look
inkling
how
of.
similar some of these civilizations are around the world.
Mhm.
Uh, that tells me that there was contact at some point. And
Yes,
I guarantee you, as much coastline is gone, I guarantee you there were people and ships traveling and trading and exploring all over the world.
hmm,
Uh, we were talking about it the other day. I believe at our uh, paranormal club meeting, uh, they have found uh, North American products that, uh, according to some scientists, i.e., the uh, not paleontologist. What's the word I'm looking for?
archaeologists or
Yeah,
the
probably.
yeah,
Said shouldn't be possible.
yeah,
The
not sociologists.
my ologist
Yeah, I
library
know
just
what you're
crashed. So
trying to say. It's a branch of anthropologists. That's
anthropologist, yeah, the anthropologist said, "Oh no, that didn't happen. It was impossible." Okay, how did the ears of corn end up in ancient Egyptian tombs? They didn't
absolutely
grow there.
no.
They traveled there. And
Mhm.
if one guy can travel on a ship and trade corn, somebody else can't. And we found bronze that was made from copper that was mined in South America. We can tell this because of the chemical analysis. It ain't that hard. The geologists and the metallurgists, they all go, "Oh yeah, that's probably what happened," and the anthropologists are going, "No, you guys are all dumb."
Jess said the pyramids and Keith Richards. That's all that's going to be left. She's right.
Yeah. I saw a picture of dinosaurs that Keith Richards took.
That's funny.
Uh,
But Mark has a very valid point. You know, there are a lot of things that have been found, both not only in the Americas, but from the Americas in other places.
right?
That
They
they're
found cocaine in some of these mummies.
obvious that there was trade going back and forth well beyond what we thought was possible.
And a lot of that trade was kept secret so that they wouldn't lose their special deals.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's not hard to imagine. If the Vikings could sail
Hmm.
in the 400s or whatever it was from Norway to North America, so could the Egyptians.
Yeah,
They had
but they did. Yeah.
perfectly seaworthy vessels that were capable of making that trip. And as we've talked about before in the show, there is a theory that Cleopatra's son and his followers fled to North America uh, long before Columbus went. There is some evidence that suggested at least Egyptian trade. I don't know if Cleopatra's son made the trip or not, but we have found Egyptian artifacts. Yeah, Egyptian
Wow.
fiancé beads were found underneath the stones of Stonehenge when they were excavated in the Victorian period. Of
Hi,
course they
Ian.
were. They traded with everybody because they were rich.
Mhm.
The Egyptians were rich. What brought in all their gold and everything else was beer. They made their fortune making beer. Ask Anheuser-Busch. It's an easy way to make a fortune or lose one.
That's very true.
So
I'm super excited to really dig back into this topic because
uh,
it's a fun one.
I don't know how many people are on the chat right now. How many of you people are interested in us firing back up the old ancient history search? I'm hoping you are. That's kind of what this episode is about. Um, we're really excited to get back into that, and this looked like a good way to do it.
Yes, for sure.
So,
There was, and I'm kind of squirreling here and jumping back a little bit. Um, that one of the pictures that I sent you, Mark. Um, Jess, I am. So hey, yeah, pyramids are interesting. Um, so back on the pictures that I sent, there's that one that shows what looks like we've seen it before, and everyone may have seen it before. It looks like the line where they say that the oceans are meeting.
this one, hold on, let me get that back up there.
So, is there a line that looks like this where the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans mix? Um, yeah, there is a line where they mix, but this isn't it. And
Yeah, you can't tell.
no, you can't tell what this is right here. And this one is often put off as one of those pictures that where they meet up. But as you can see at the bottom of that, it says it's the Fraser River flowing into the Pacific Ocean at the Strait of Georgia in Vancouver, Canada. So what it is, it's river water that's coming in that has debris and mud and all those good things in it. It's a little bit lighter, so it's floating on top. But you can't really tell where the oceans are mixing, even though they are. They do have different densities, they have different temperatures, and saline. Or salt, which means that the water doesn't mix easily, and it's just harder to tell than a solid line like this. But they do mix through the currents, you know, and they are connected. The Atlantic and Pacific are connected by a bunch of different currents. But I just thought that was interesting, and one that I kind of wanted to debunk
It's
on
a
here
neat
because
picture. It
it's
really
a
is.
very
And it's
cool
cool.
picture. Yeah, very cool.
And
And there's
I'm
another
sure
one
it
that
looks
pops up as
similar.
well, like this from the Mississippi River, but it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, you could. I'm sure something like this occasionally happens coming out of the Mississippi.
Yeah,
It's about got to, because Mississippi's dirty.
yeah, it is. It's a muddy river, and it looks a lot like the portion of this on the left here.
So, all right. Oh, I'm
Yeah, we get a
sure.
lot of good feedback in the comments. Pyramids are interesting. Ancient archaeology is a hot topic the last few years. Time to bring it back up. And Ian, I thoroughly enjoy a bit of pseudo archaeology, as do we.
As do we. I mean, some of these archaeologists are kind of fishy.
Some of them
Some of
are,
them
and a
aren't.
lot of them will not argue with someone that has made their life work, a specific way, and they don't want to.
They
They
don't
have
want
very
to hurt
fragile
those.
egos. Some of them do, and they
Yeah.
don't want to piss them off. Basically, they don't want to
Well,
make enemies.
and the problem,
I
part of
can.
the problem is the archaeologists and the geologists don't like each other,
Yeah,
because
they don't. They don't agree on a lot of things.
so I am more inclined to agree with a geologist
Mhm.
than I am an archaeology. I mean, it's kind of like arguing that sharks don't exist because the spoon of water you fished out of the ocean doesn't have any in it.
Mhm. Yeah,
Just because you
yeah,
haven't found it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
correct.
And we've got all these legends and stuff worldwide that are the same no matter where you go.
Hmm. That's
Uh,
true. There are a lot of things that are the same. You've got, even if you go back into like biblical stories, Noah and the flood. That's only one telling of that particular situation. There's not the exact telling, but it is so
there's the Epic of
much
Gilgamesh.
alike.
They've talked about it in South American
Yes.
legends, North American legends, Asia. Um, Everywhere in the world, there is a flood
Yeah.
and a fear of a flood. So
Yep. And
there's a
the how
reason
it
for
wiped
that.
out humanity, for the
And
most part.
you notice one thing, I'll pull up the Wallace line again. There is one creature that they do not show on the Wallace line that they should, and that is human beings.
Yeah. They're not on there, are they?
Because human beings are the one animal that has no trouble crossing that line.
Hmm.
It was probably a lot easier when the ocean was lower, but even now, it's fairly easy on an outrigger canoe to just row from these islands. You can get all the way, you can stop and hunt and eat and get all the way to Australia without too much trouble. It's doable.
Enzo in the comments, he said, and he's talking about archaeologists and why they don't always um, put out the new information, and it boils down to ego. If an archaeologist's career hinges on their theory that's been the standard for years and it gets disproved with a new discovery, then they're going to try to bury it so they don't lose their status. You are 100% correct, sir.
Well, and see,
Absolutely.
here's the deal I've noticed with science. Oh, those scientists 200 years ago didn't understand things the way we do now. And so that theory is completely wrong. And it's actually this. And then 40 years later, somebody goes, yeah, that guy from 40 years ago, he was wrong. The guys from 200 years ago had it right
They were accurate. Yeah.
because they were actually looking at the evidence, not their own
Hmm.
stupid theory. And then it just happens in cycles. The next
It does.
generation
It does.
poo-poos on the last generation, and
And
then Then they
On top
find
of
out
all
that
of
the other
that,
generation was right
yes.
or wrong or whatever.
And on top of all of that, you throw into the mix, especially in the United States, you don't want to prove too much who was here first, because if they came before Columbus and selling the ocean blue in 1492, that could be a problem. That could be a problem, a big problem for a lot of people. And another
Politically, yes.
country, if it shows that they showed first, they could say, hey,
Yeah.
was it you? It was us. You need to hand it over. Ken
Right.
said
They
all
don't.
religions speak about the same entity, but they use different names. Strangely, everyone's supreme being is the one and only, and they fight that they're right and only right. Yes, you are correct. There's
There's a
been
lot
so many
to
wars.
that.
They're almost all fought over religion.
Or
So
resources.
many are. Yeah, resources.
Those are the two big ones.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I dissed your theory about the evolution of cockatoos and you decided to wipe out my country.
Yes.
I mean, it's not that ridiculous, but sometimes it is. Human beings are really some of the most ridiculous creatures on the planet. It's like, why are you fighting? Really? I
Crazy, crazy.
mean, I don't understand sometimes, but sometimes I do. I get it. I get the whole fighting for resources and stuff. You want your country to have all the resources it needs to make your people happy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to get strung up on a gallows because, you let your people starve or whatever. I get it. I get it.
Ken said, "What? Where's my cockatoos?"
Right? Right? I prefer the purple ones. I don't know if there are purple ones, but if there were, they would be my favorite.
It's awesome. But this is a great leaping off point, to as a lead in on what we are going to be talking about in the future.
And that's kind of why I wanted to tease everybody with this. It's considered a fact now. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, uh, especially we watched a movie or a mini series not too long ago at your house
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
about ancient apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what we've got here is proof that it happened. The geologists, at least, and several of the other ologists agree that you know. Let me get that. I lost my picture again. Dang it. Uh, this was a thing.
Yes,
And this
very
is
much
right
so.
in here. When we were watching Ancient Apocalypse, that pyramid that they were excavating would have been in this region. So it just goes to show you that it's it's plausible.
And I'm excited. We need to do something on pyramids too, just pyramids. I've been fascinated with pyramids since I was a little kid, and that would be a fun one.
Yes,
About
pyramids are fun. We'll get you a pyramid hat.
more.
I probably need one to probably help me think more clear. Uh, there, especially after a 10-hour day in the heat and then coming in here and trying to do a podcast, sometimes I don't make the most sense.
Ken has a friend that he had on a muck with us. It's been a few months ago, but he has a very large pyramid in his home, and you can go in and sit underneath it, and it's pretty cool.
So here's what's going to happen. Uh, Thousands of years from now, our descendants are going to look at all these uh, rectangular buildings we live in and believe in rectangle power.
Probably.
Oh,
Yes,
they
Tom.
built all
That's
this.
his name. Ken just said his friend's name was Tom.
So this is my prediction of the far future. They're going to look at all of our rectangular and square homes, and they're going to say, "Ew, it was rectangle power. We want to live in a rectangle."
I was
But-
watching something the other day about, and I can't remember. This is totally off topic here. It was about a tribe somewhere, and during World War II, they used wherever this island was. Where was it?
Probably New Guinea.
May have been, or Caribbean, or somewhere like that. But they use this island as a place to land planes and to bring in equipment and things. And the people that lived there had never seen these things, so it would be kind of like, and we would be the same probably. It would be like a god came, or somebody,
Yeah,
a demigod
cargo
or whatever.
cults.
Yes, and even to this day, they did leave these things for the tribe members, and even to this day they have, um, yes, cargo cults. Thank you, Enzo. Even to this day, they have parades and things where they bring out, the equipment that was left, and they wear the old uniforms, and they march like they saw the soldiers march, and they have built like airplanes out of,
Bamboo and whatnot.
yes, things that they had to replicate these things. So it's kind of along the same, it's
It's
pretty
not
cool.
just lemurs.
Exactly. That's
Uh,
funny.
and it's true. I mean, look at Eric Van, whatever the heck his name is,
Von Doniken.
Doniken. Yeah, Von Doniken. Pyramids of the Gods, or Chariots of the Gods. Are we just a cargo cult?
Yeah.
Are all these religions around the world that show people in what look like spacesuits and whatnot
Yes.
just cargo cults?
Maybe so.
Well, these people were landing their ships there, and
Ian said, yeah, pyramids are definitely worth a look. Most folks think the Giza pyramids align with Orion's belt, but they are closer to the Cygnus constellation. You are right. It's pretty interesting. Oh, and Christy's in the chat. Hi, Christy.
all right.
Yay.
One of my favorite people on the whole planet.
She's a great human being.
She is. She is just, and she will be at Paracon this year.
Absolutely, she will be. We need to make sure we plug that again.
Yes, we do. But yeah,
And if
I'm
you're
excited
not in
to
the
see her again.
States, if you're not in the States and you don't have a way to make it to the Paracon, we will be streaming it live. We'll make sure we get all that info out early enough that everybody can participate if they'd like.
Right.
Or you can watch it later, either way.
And hold on, I'm going to share the screen again. And share screen.
We got t-shirts and hoodies made, so we'll make sure we share all that too.
Here is 2024 Paragon. And you
Uh-huh.
can, I'm going to leave this up here for a little bit. For those of you who are on the chat, you want to scan the QR code, you can get a link to the event and everything. It's going to be a lot of fun. It always is. It's amazing to see how this, with the four of us sitting there talking to 3 or 4 people at a time in that tiny old library, has now we've talked to 150 people, maybe more. It goes up a little every year. I'm thinking we're probably gonna, if not this year, the next, make it to 250.
I hope so. That'd be fun.
But the main thing about the Paracon isn't, yes, we want the public there. The public is very important to us. But the big thing is getting the different. See, this is why we're trying. We saw what's happening between the scientists, the paleontologists, and the geologists, and all the different ologists. Nobody wants to talk. Nobody wants to agree on everything. Everybody is stupid according to the other one. We don't want that. We want the UFO guys and the Bigfoot guys and the ghost guys, everybody to exchange information and see where the other one's coming from. And what we found is it's time for your pill.
I did. I took it already.
Oh, okay. What we found is these people have gotten together and said, never thought of it that way. Not, there's been great friendships struck up.
Mm-hmm.
How many podcasts have come out of this Paracon? So much great content. I'm really excited every year when we have the Paracon.
What I
So,
think's really cool is when we get everybody together, like you said, none of the ologists can agree. But what's fun is when we get people together from these different camps, they start realizing that things that they call in the UFO world one thing may be being experienced in the Bigfoot cryptid world, but it's just being called by a different name.
and
I
it
always
may
think
or may
that's
not
so
be related to either one of those fields, and they've got the opportunity to figure that out
yes.
because they're actually talking. Imagine what would happen if the paleontologists and the archaeologists and everybody got together with the geologists
Mhm.
and said, "Hey, did you
And
see
if they
that?"
could set their egos aside.
They could set their egos aside and worry a
Yes.
little bit less about their grant money
Mhm.
and
And I get it. I get why they worry about their grant money.
their legacy of their tenure.
I work at a library. I 100% understand the necessity of the grant money. However, there's got to
It's
be a common
it's getting
ground.
in the way of actual science.
It
I mean,
is
I'm
absolutely
not saying that I'm right. I'm
no.
not saying
Either.
any of that. But the plausibility of it is there, and I feel like it needs to be explored more.
Mhm.
And so, if nobody else is going to explore it, why shouldn't we?
Ian said, also, you guys should do an episode on ley lines. He's familiar with the UK stuff. It'd be interesting to hear about anything, if there's anything to report in the United States and beyond. Ian, you have
You should
no
say
idea.
that, Ian. Yes.
We are huge ley line fans
We
around here.
actually did an episode, I believe, on this show.
Mhm.
So if you go to Spreaker and go through our catalog, you will find us talking about ley lines.
We'll have to figure out
You know
which
what? I
episode.
probably give me just a second.
We have ley lines running through right where we live in southeast Kansas, Ian, and there's tons and tons of evidence that supports it. Yeah, it's something that we really, really dig into constantly. We're constantly, that's one of those that we don't ever really set aside. We're
No,
always
we really don't.
working.
We are working constantly to map ley lines, mostly you and Jessica. So
That's more than
on 6 June 23, what are ley lines and why are they important? It's on our Spreaker catalog. 1 second and Control C.
there you go.
I'm going to post this link right here to our Spreaker catalog, and you can actually go click on there and go through all of our old shows on the Fringe, and then check out What If Tomorrow, because we talked about everything on there until we split the show to just kind of make it easier for the algorithms to keep track. So, but there you go. Yes, ley lines are a big deal. I think they have a lot to do with a lot of paranormal activity.
Hmm. We
Um,
could do another complete show on it. We didn't
we
even
could do
scratch
a
the surface.
we could do a whole podcast on just ley lines.
We could.
Really.
Yay. Hopefully you'll find some more fun stuff in there, Ian.
Yeah, and like I said, we don't claim to be experts on anything. We're here. Phil and I started this show, and What If Tomorrow, on the premise we're just a couple guys, or in this case, a guy and a girl. We're just leaning over the back of the pickup bed or the toolbox,
Hmm.
having a conversation about what if this is something? What if this isn't something?
And
And
it always leads right down the road to something else. So
right. So what we
never run
want
out
you
of
to do as
topics.
listeners, because like I said, don't believe anything we say. You go out there and do the research yourself. Um, get out there and do your own research. And hey, become an expert.
Mhm.
Give us a shout. We'll put you on the show, and we'll just make a night of it.
That'd be fun.
Absolutely. Or if you know an expert who would be interested in coming on and telling us either how dumb we are or how we're almost on the right track or whatever.
Nicely, be nice.
I mean, no, it's fine because I want to know the answers, and I hope you guys do too. That's why I say I want everybody to go out there, do your own research, dig into this stuff, and have a good time with it.
Mhm.
Have a good time with it. That because that's what we
That's
want
the
to
ultimate
tickle.
goal.
We want to tickle your mind
Hmm.
and get you interested into looking into this stuff. Like I said, I
Christy
don't.
Christy did say that she is a psychic medium, for those that don't know, and she said she utilizes the lines as a medium all of the time. It's pretty cool.
That. They broke. Okay. Enzo's. Yes, we do our lives on 2 different YouTube channels. We're at it, when the viewership on the Fringe channel starts getting where everybody's transferred over, we'll probably stop broadcasting the On the Fringe show on the What If Tomorrow channel. Just like I said, we're trying to straighten out um the algorithm. But for right now, I'm broadcasting it on both and on our What If Tomorrow page on Facebook. So uh, we really enjoy having people on the lives to interact with us. We thrive on that.
Yeah.
So please do ask questions, make comments.
Yeah,
You
if
know,
you're in
try to be
here, jump
polite.
in.
So I don't have a whole lot else tonight. Do you, Pam?
No, not really. And again, I apologize. I fell short on my research tonight by a long
Well,
shot. So
like I said, I envision this as being kind of a jumping off point.
mhm.
Um, just kind of test the waters to see if everybody is interested in us going back and finishing our uh, tromp through uh, history and myth and legend and see what we can find.
We'll dig out the machetes and whack through the brush.
Well, I mean, the last time I had a machete out, I tried to cut my leg off. So maybe I should probably avoid that.
Maybe so.
So,
Oh, dang, Enzo, you're watching us on a 75-inch TV? Yikes. Sorry.
I'm surprised I haven't
Oh,
broken your
sorry.
TV. All
Goodness.
right. So once again, Saturday, September 28th,
Yes.
we're having the Paracon here in Caney, Kansas. Come out and see it live, or we will be streaming on StreamYard, uh, probably to all of our channels. Um, so you can watch our panels and our presentations on YouTube and then go back and watch them afterwards.
Yes.
So you don't have to miss it. Um, 'Cause what did we have last year? Like
100,
400.
no, we didn't have that many. We had like
Okay.
150.
Thought we got like a 400 clicks altogether.
Oh, 400 clicks. Yeah. Yeah. We were
So
well
people
more
went
than
back and
400.
looked
We
at it
were closer to
later.
800. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Live
uh,
bodies, a few less. Um, the doors open at 9 to the public, and that's Central Standard Time. And we're going to be going until 7:30 that night. So it'll be a good time.
it'll
There'll
be a
be a
lot of
lot of
fun.
things happening.
We've got like I said, we've got Bigfoot guys, we've got UFO guys,
Oh, thank you, Christy.
we've
She
got
says she
ghost
loves
guys.
everything that we put out. Yay.
Aww.
We appreciate that. That means a lot coming from you.
I'm going to tear up a little.
Come tear up.
Yeah. So I'm hoping those of you who can make it to the Paracon come out, show your support. And the nice thing about our Paracon is our guest speakers and panelists are all encouraged to walk around on the floor when they're not speaking or paneling and have conversations with the public. If you're a member of the public, this is your chance to talk to an expert about your experiences or what have you. And most everybody is just delighted. A lot of these folks have come up with new theories or definitely new stories and stuff to track from the Paracon, and they might be able, sometimes they'll tell you what you're seeing is normal. It's not paranormal.
What I always love is the fact that we get so many stories and so many, when it comes to the broader paranormal community, Kansas and our 4-state area, Kansas, Missouri and Arkansas, not so much, but mostly Kansas and then Oklahoma as well, are viewed more of like a flyover. There's nothing going on there. Nothing happens. There's no reports. That is not true.
We're the buckle of the Bible Belt.
Mm-hmm.
And for many years, everybody's pastor told them that anything paranormal was a demon.
Yes.
Everything is a demon. It's all demonic. And while I'll give them that some of it most certainly probably is, a lot of it can be explained with time slips or dimensional slips or things that's probably not even paranormal, but present as paranormal. So UFOs, they're demonic. The demons are coming for us. I'm sorry. The demons are all in Washington right now. They're too busy for the likes of us. So
y'all would be surprised, and that's something that you'll really learn.
But I'm shy.
When you listen to these presentations, and I'm sure everybody's kind of learning when they watch our podcasts as well. There is a ton of personal experiences. There's tons of UFO encounters. There's tons and tons of cryptid encounters, and even more ghost stories on top of all of that. So,
right. And we have UFO.
You're right, Christy.
We have UFO sightings in this area almost nightly. I can drive 15 minutes, and if I'm out there the right time of night, I can see them. I need to get some better camera equipment so that I can get some. Yeah, it was a little bit of politics, but I wasn't wrong. I really don't think so. I think that's where the demons are living.
Enzo's correct. And that applies no matter who's in power. You're right.
It does. I don't like politicians of any stripe. So, I'm an equal opportunity basher. I don't care what side they're on.
Yeah, we don't have demons. We have flesh pedestrians and other spooky things that are worse than that.
But yeah, I mean, this is a good area to have the Paracon, I believe, because we do have so much stuff going on. We're right here on the 37th parallel. Mm-hmm. They wrote a book about it.
Yes, they did. We've done shows about it.
There's just a lot going on here. And so there are a lot of groups out here that are looking into different things. And so we've got a pretty robust body of evidence to fall back on, and lots of people who are interested in tracking it. So please come out to the Paracon or watch us on YouTube. We hope you all have a good time.
Mm-hmm. We always do.
Let's move on before we fall out. Okie dokie. He's right. We need to leave that to the politicians. This is the wrong show for that. If you like politics, well, nobody likes politics. If you like politics, you can listen to the other show. We talk about it more often. We try to avoid it whenever possible. Moving on. That's about all I had for tonight.
Me too. I think we covered quite a bit.
Oh, Ken says, I drive your way and almost watch for Sasquatch carrying a cow. I've not seen them yet.
It could happen.
It could happen. Yes.
Yes,
Ken,
we'll be seeing you over here.
Weird
soon.
trail camera pictures from around here. You know, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah,
we had a dogman two dogman sightings.
Mm-hmm.
Not 11 miles from here. So
yeah. Thank you, Sylvain.
Yeah, thanks, Sylvain. We hope everybody has enjoyed themselves. Pam and I were on here without our minder, so forgive us for being in the weeds a lot.
Yes.
I'm kind of famous for getting into the weeds.
Yeah, Jess hasn't been here to rein us in, so
Yep.
we've been off topic a few times.
Most of the show, Pam. It's normal. It's
True.
okay. It won't hurt anybody. Oh, all right, guys. I hope you all have a fantastic night, and we will see you in 2 weeks on the Fringe, and a week from Wednesday on Border Town Strange with Pam and Jess. We will be doing part 3, I believe.
Part 3
of time anomalies.
Yes.
So let's see.
We just haven't had enough of it yet.
Please check out Border Town Strange on YouTube.
Yes.
Where we talk about, we talk a lot about the Paracon and the strange things that happen to us on the border, the Kansas-Oklahoma border, which is the 37th parallel.
Ian, if you're still
all
here, you
kinds
want
of
to hear
things
some
all
really
over the
weird
world.
stories from our area, go check out Border Town Strange, because we've got some crazy stories that we've been telling just the last few shows over there about things that happen right here.
We can find a link for that at www. SEK Border Town Paranormal. What's
BorderTownParanormal.com is the website. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So
there you go. Yeah, we're on YouTube under Border Town Strange. That might be easier.
Yep, YouTube under Border Town Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Come check them out. I'm going to be honest with you. The girls put on a way better show than I do.
Aww.
I really think that, honestly, if I wasn't working 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, I probably could give it a better shot. But I think you guys do a bang up job. And
thank you.
If you want to see a really good show, same cast, different driver, please go visit Border Town Strange. These girls are the queens of proper research, and
not tonight.
Well, I mean, we all have our bad nights.
But today was crazy.
You know, that's not the
norm.
That's actually not the point of this show. The point on this show is really to just start a conversation and get people to do their own research and make up their own mind. That's all we ask. So
absolutely.
Like I said, we don't claim to be experts. We just claim to be interested. So.
In fact, I claim to not be an expert. So there we go.
Right. The non-expert expert. So
yes, and that's right. Christy will be joining us on Border Town Strange the next show to
Yep,
talk
a
about the
week
time
from Wednesday.
anomalies as well.
So, and she's got some great stories.
She has
So.
some fantastic stories, so it'll be good.
All right. Well, with that being said, I think we've done our due diligence.
Done as much damage as possible anyway.
Done as much damage as possible, yes. I'm sure we've damaged somebody's minds, or at least I have.
Awesome.
Maybe even the video device that they're watching the show on. I don't
Thank you,
know.
Ian. He said, cheerio all. I really do enjoy this format of weirdness. Have a great week. Yay.
We've enjoyed having you on, Ian. You've had some pretty
it's
good
fun.
points. Please visit us anytime you want. So, all right. With that being said, good night, all.
Yeah. Good night, everybody. Yay.
And